Hey guys, subscribe for daily knife content, and if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kansept Knives Copperhead. This was sent to me directly by Kansept Knives, so thank you very much for sending this. I will link this guy right down in the description, as well as Kansept Knives in general, so you guys can take a look at what's going on with them right now. This is the carbon fiber version. They call it Twill carbon fiber version. I don't know why it's listed that way. It looks like, you know, it looks like marble carbon fiber or shred carbon fiber. I'll take a closer look here in a sec. But there is a G10 version of this as well. That's a little bit less money. You guys can take a look at all the different versions that are available. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. You can find the link for my Patreon right down in the description. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. Overall length of the Kansept Copperhead coming in at 8 1/4 inches overall. Blade length is coming in at about 3.6, and your cutting edge is coming in yeah, a little over 3 1/4, about 3.3 inches overall by my measurement. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat 1 and Rat 2. You can see here that the Rat, I mean, we're at a little bit of an angle here, guys. The Rat is actually just a little bit longer, though it really does look like they're about the same. Should we measure that again? 8 1/4. No, you know what? It's a little longer than that. It's closer to 8.3, maybe 8.4 inches overall. The Rat is definitely a little longer at about 8.6. So, even though the camera's throwing us off here, this guy is a little bit shorter than the full-size Rat. Definitely longer than the little guy, the Rat 1. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and its little brother, the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. I don't know why we're going out of order here. There you go. Definitely longer than the Ritter Hogue, and absolutely longer than the Mini Griptilian. And last but not least, the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco. Whoops. I dropped my Para 3. It's alright, this thing gets used all the time. Yeah, this is much more PM2 sized. It's a little bit longer than the PM2, but definitely more PM2 sized for sure. Alright, let's go ahead and do a hardware check on this guy. Get out my tools as per usual. Tools are very recommendable, and you can find them right down in the description. I think all the screws... Boy, you know what? Might be a T10 on the pivot. Let's go ahead and give that a shot. Yeah, pivot's a T10. Body screws are going to be most likely T8, which is good. Let's try a T8 here real quick. Yep. And on the other side, it's going to be the same except for the pocket clip, which is going to be a T6. That's awesome. I like T8. I prefer T8 over T6. There are 3 on each side, so you've got a few too many in my opinion. Probably could have done just fine with 2 on each side, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3 initially. Yeah, you can see here that these are contoured, but it's ever so slightly thinner. Well, maybe at the peak of the contouring, it might be about the same. But yeah, we're not looking at anything insane in terms of thickness. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here that it does have a flipper tab, and it does have a high point down here because of the blade shape. Longer than the Para 3. About the same as the PM2. This might be dimensionally a little bit awkward for some people. It's definitely a large knife. So do with that information what you will. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of blade stock thickness on this guy. Blade stock on the Copperhead coming in, it looks fairly thick. Not crazy. 136, 135 thousandths is most likely what that is. Take a look at the inside here real quick. On this guy, looks like it's probably going to be all carbon. No, there is a steel liner on the inside. There is a countersunk steel liner. It's been milled out a little bit, and then obviously the liner lock side is milled into the frame. Inset, I guess, is what we call that. Weight on this guy. I'm going to guess this weighs about 3.75 ounces, but we'll see. Not even that. 3.5 ounces. I think that's pretty good considering the blade is quite a bit. You know, you're getting like 3.6 inches of blade, something like that. So that's pretty good. Obviously, this is not going to be legal for everybody. It's also definitely going to be kind of awkward and cumbersome for some people. Just depends on, you know, your carry preferences. It is what it is. let's go ahead and talk about the anatomy of this guy. So the elephant in the room is the blade shape. This big sort of raptor talon, you know, almost like Hawksbill Wharncliffe, right? This is not going to be the most ideal blade shape day to day. I'm sure that there are some, you know, self-defense benefits to a blade. I have no idea. I don't talk about stuff like that on this channel. I come at it from the perspective of me, somebody who just uses knives for simple stuff day to day. Some people are going to, you know, it's going to be kind of neat looking to some people. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of blade shapes like this aesthetically or functionally. Can I break down a box with it? Sure. Can I do regular EDC stuff with it? Sure. It's just not going to be as efficient as a simple Wharncliffe, a simple sheep's foot, or simple drop point blade, which is what we commonly see in the knife world. But, I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for, you know, knives that do something different, have a wild look. You know, some people like that. Some people get bored with the same type of stuff over and over again. So there you go. We're looking at carbon fiber here. Again, I don't know why they call this twill. It just looks like shred carbon fiber. It looks pretty good. There's a couple little voids here and there. There's one right there above the pivots. I think I saw another one somewhere else. Yeah, a couple more on the back side here. Can you see? Right there. A couple right there. Nature of the beast with this stuff, guys. People get way too bent out of shape. Shred carbon fiber or marble carbon fiber. There's voids. There's gonna be. There's simply gonna be. You know, in some situations you might get one that doesn't have a lot of voids, and in other situations, you're gonna get some that you know, it has a ton. Like this has got. There's like no voids on one side, right? It's just gonna be the way that it's gonna be, unless you want to pay an insane amount of money for a custom knife that, you know, the scales were made from a certain brick of shred carbon fiber or marble carbon fiber, where there were absolutely no voids, right? So don't get bent out of shape if your knife in this price range has some voids in it. That's not an issue. Again, seriously, it's the nature of the beast. Like when this kind of stuff is being made, it's just much more likely you're going to get little teeny tiny voids or pock marks in this material. So that's fine, but it does look pretty good all the way around. The edges are okay. They're kind of angular, honestly. I mean, they're kind of knocked down. But, yeah, they're okay. Ergonomics feel really good. You know, I mean, despite the edges being kind of a sharp, almost a 90-degree drop-off. I mean, it is a 90-degree drop-off, but it's like the edges are very kind of sharp, right? At forward choil, you can definitely make use of that. It's pretty comfortable, you know? I mean, there's a lot of positions where you could hold this knife, and you know, it might work. You can do draw cuts, things like that. You definitely can get a full purchase on it. You are fairly locked in. They are pretty suggestive on exactly where your fingers need to go, but where they go is optimal, I think, so that's fine. I do like the look of the scales. You know, I like the look of shred carbon fiber. I think that's nice. The hardware looks good. Fit and finish all the way around, honestly, is very good. We have a backspacer back here, and I think, get the light on this guy. Well, now hang on a second. What is this? What kind of backspacer are we looking at here? I honestly have no idea what that material is. It feels like it's. I don't think it's titanium. No, it's the magnet's going after it. So is it steel, or maybe it's not? No, I think the magnet's going after the liners. Is it going after the pocket clip, though? No. So maybe it is titanium. Well, the pocket clip might be titanium. I don't know about the backspacer, though. I mean, it kind of looks like painted. Like, I mean, it initially looked like plastic. Huh. If it is titanium, I'm not a huge fan of the, you know, the aesthetic of that. It doesn't look like titanium. It just looks like black paint. I don't know. I have no idea what the backspacer is, honestly, but I'm going to guess the pocket clip is titanium. It's just got a black finish on it. The blade is S35VN, which S35VN is great. I like S35VN. We're starting to see that steel drop way down. It's pretty common to see S35VN in knives that cost just a little bit over $100, and even, you know, in the sub $100 mark, you know. This is the this seems to be the steel of choice for Kansept. They have a few knives, I think, floating around in M390, which I think is still appropriate for the price range. Honestly, I'd kind of like to see these companies where their main like their bread and butter is between 150 and 250, right? Especially up there at the $200 mark. I'd kind of like to start seeing more S45VN. It is only marginally different than S35VN, but all of the benefits that you gain in S45 are for the better, in my opinion. While that doesn't necessarily make it a primo steel that's worth $50 more than knives that are using S35VN, it's like if I'm going to pay that much, I'd kind of like to start seeing the new stuff, right? M390, because of its performance and what it is, right? I think it's still a good steel to see in that price range, right? It's even better if it comes down a little bit. But if we're going to go with steels like S35, I'd kind of like to start seeing more S40. That's just my opinion. I just given the day that we're in, right? I'm going to tell you guys what this costs, right? It's here later in the review. But truthfully, I'd just like to see more S45VN. S35VN is great. Absolutely. It is still one of my favorite steels. Very easy to sharpen, very tough, very stainless, holds an edge for a long time. It's great. We have K10, what does it say? K1017A1 S35VN. We don't need that, right? Kansept logo, honestly, the more I see these, the more I want them like down here. Get rid of that number right there, bring the logo down here, keep S35VN, and then, you know, of course, the designer, that's fine. And then it says Branton Eller's design. Why did we have this and this? It doesn't need both. This is fine, but you don't have to type it out there too. It's silly. Okay. This has a flat that runs out about 70% the length of the blade. You got a nice swedge up here. Blade's nicely knocked down. I mean, it's nicely done. The tumbling looks great on it, right? Edge is nicely done. Because of the nature of blades like this, it is fairly thick behind the edge, or at least because of the height of it, starting thickness, right? How wide the flat is. Yeah, not going to be a performance slicer. You know, can you use the blade to tear through a thick leather coat? Sure. I don't find myself doing that on a day-to-day basis, right? I don't think that this type of blade is going to offer you any major convenience for regular knife stuff over a typical, you know, this is going to be a much more convenient blade shape. It just is, right? But you totally could EDC this, right? I mean, you definitely could. You got the nice ergonomic lines, right? It's just, this isn't something that I find ultra practical day to day, you know, but that's not always the main reason to pick up a knife. You don't have to buy a knife just because it's going to be the most practical thing in the whole world. Maybe you just like it, and that's perfectly fine. I think maybe I'm being a little hard on this blade because it is, the blade shape is just not what I like at all. This looks like, to me, it looks like a tactical vulture. That's just the vibe that I get from it. The blade is well done for what it is, though. The edge is nice, no wonkiness in the final cutting bevel. Edges are knocked down up here. Yeah, all that stuff's there, so that's good. Moving on here, we have a lanyard hole that's there for lanyard hole people. Backspacer looks, I mean, in terms of, like, you know, seams and things like that, it's fine. There's another little void right there in the carbon fiber, which, again, is common. Do we need to turn the exposure up just a little bit? This knife is so dark. Pocket clip. So honestly, the color that they have on the titanium in contrast, I think this color might work in a different knife, but because we've got the carbon fiber, which is a little lighter than the black, and we've got the tumbled finish on the blade, I don't like how the backspacer and pocket clip look. I'd rather that they, if this is titanium, which I truthfully don't know, I feel like definitely the pocket clip is. Why didn't we just do them tumbled so that they contrast better? I think it honestly just, it looks kind of funny. The backspacer, to me, really cheapens this knife up a little bit, and so does the black on the pocket clip. I don't know why. That's just what's happening here for me. The scales are contoured, which is something I appreciate. Contouring always manages to fill out the hand and just give me a better ergonomic experience, so I do appreciate that. This is a steel liner lock, locking up at about, what is that, 20% or so? Absolutely solid. No blade play up, down, left, or right. I will give it to Kansept there. Very, very solid on lockup. Never had an issue with any of that. This does have an internal stop pin that follows the blade. You can kind of see it there if my camera wants to focus. Follows the blade, so that's nice. And the blade is also perfectly centered with no detent lash. I'm also kind of bummed out that this is a steel liner lock, right? So essentially we have S35EN, marble or shred carbon fiber. This looks more like shred carbon fiber to me. And then a countersunk steel liner lock. What do they want for this version? They want $216 for this. They have another version in G10. They want $168 for. Yeah, maybe it's... Here's the thing. I'll admit, guys, maybe it's the aesthetic of this that just doesn't have me super excited. But I'm just not feeling that price. You know, it's made well. Like, fit and finish is good. But, I mean, honestly, today, I think there needs to be, you know, this needed to be more of a titanium frame lock. Needed to be more titanium on this. And I think an upgrade for the steel, if we're going to ask that much. I mean, like, they've got... Kansept has a lot of really nice knives in the $200 price point. There's much more titanium. And they, you know, like, they do titanium with carbon fiber inlaid. And then they've got all the nice polishing. And then they've got sometimes S35EN, sometimes M390. Feel a lot better about spending that type of money on those. But there's just not enough here. And in combination with the look of it, you know, it's not like... Knives are more valuable if they appeal to me aesthetically. No, I shouldn't be saying that. I think the look of this knife is it's forcing me to take a much closer look to it. But yeah, I'm just not feeling that price. I also think it's not going to be the most practical thing in the entire world. I mean, you know, some people are going to love how it looks, and if you love how it looks, right, and you've got the money to spend on it, are you going to be happy with its construction? Yeah. Kansept has excellent overall quality. Like, the way that they put stuff together is fantastic. I'm sure it'll last you for a really long time. I don't think it's going to be super practical. I don't really agree with the price. $168 for the G10 version. This version should be $168 max. The G10 version should be way less. I'm thinking like $150 and like $120 for the G10 version. And even then, it's kind of like, you know. Gotta... For 218 bucks is what I saw this coming in at. No, there needs to be more here. I'm starting to get a little bit more picky. I'm starting to have a little bit higher expectations, right? You guys know me as glass half full, but I'm always going to be honest with you guys. If there's something that just doesn't quite do it for me, or the value's not quite there, yeah, I have to say something. And in this case, yeah, I'm not feeling the value on this guy, and it's not going to be something that I can recommend to a large audience of people. But don't let me stop you if you find this interesting. I still provide the links anyway. Don't let me stop you, because Kansept, like I said, does have excellent fit and finish. This is a well-made object, right? But it's just not going to be practical, and I think they want too much money for it. That's my honest opinion. Guys, I think that's going to be pretty much it today. Thanks again, Kansept, for sending this along. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.